Yes, man.
Welcome back to the Sync Boys podcast, ladies and germs. How are we? It's
Yes, man.
it's been quite the week. I remarked to Joe the other day, today's Wednesday when we're recording. um on Monday, I was like, I can't believe it's only been a week since the NHL playoffs have started. There's been an insane amount of action. Preds are eliminated. Every other series, every team has 2 wins in the series, except for the Rangers and Penguins. Go Rags tonight, playing at 7. I think the puck just dropped. You can see I'm wearing my Celtics jersey, my Larry Bird. How the hell are you? Go Seas. But we wanted to start off with a little Bruins Canes talk to start off the podcast. Um, Joe, you want to lead us off there, Buckaroo?
Oh, you want me to talk about the Bruins? I haven't been as angry as I was watching that Bruins game at a sports game in maybe my entire life. Dude, I couldn't get out of it. I'm screaming at you guys for no reason. Dude, you called me when you got out of work, and I was taking all of my energy out on you with just ruthlessly too. Like me consciously knowing you had nothing to do with this and you just want to know how the game's going, and me just shut up, everybody sucks, fuck this team, like just so angry. And then yelling at Jackie too, like she came in and was like, "You good, dude?" I'm like, "No, get away from
No,
me."
not at all.
Yeah, dude, it was absolutely horrible. I mean, what really pissed me off though was that I had two expectations, like two different routes that this game could have gone. One of them was the Bruins have, they're fired up over winning 2 games in a row in TD Garden. They come in and this game looks different than the first 2 games in Carolina did. And the other route was me expecting them to lay down and get fucked. And let's just say the latter one happened, dude. There was, I would say, on the effort scale, the heart scale, the care scale, a 2 out of 10, dude. It was absolutely trash. They had like, I think they had 4 out of the first 5 penalties of the game, and then when they did get a penalty against Carolina, they created a 4-on-4 with a fucking bullshit careless play that was a penalty. And then the second power play the Bruins got, they also penalized somebody on their own power play.
Mm-hmm.
So both of their power plays were 4-on-4s. The Hurricanes had all the momentum from the get-go, especially because Swayman played unfucking believable. With how many chances the Hurricanes were getting and how easily they were getting them, he was the only one on the Bruins playing defense. But there was a goal that like got in between this little crease that he could have stopped. But from then on out, like I think the second goal they scored was like their second or third power play where it was just like they get 15 good chances. Eventually one's going to go in. And then he made some unbelievable saves from then on out. But obviously the game got away from it. Dude, it was a shit show. I'm so disappointed.
So as you just mentioned, I was at work yesterday for the listeners. I didn't get to see the game. I'm usually pessimistic Pete and Joe is Mr. Optimism, Mr. Blind Optimism. I couldn't believe what I was hearing when I got out of work. But I knew it was a little bit of mood. I watched the game over. I watched the highlights of the goals, like the little ESPN recap. I watched it a couple times. I could see effort being a factor. I could see what's lost in our understanding of this series is how good of a team Carolina is. And, being a fan of the Bruins is all good and dandy. And, oh, it's Bergeron's last year on his deal. Maybe they make a big run. They got a bunch of good pieces. Dude, Hampus Lindholm was out for like 3 games. Charlie McAvoy was out for a game and we scratched out a dub.
Dude, let me quickly say something. Hampus wasn't on the Bruins when they were red fucking hot from like the middle of the year till the end of the year, right?
No, he was on the team at
I
the
don't
end
think
of the
so,
year.
dude.
He was on the
Like,
team from March on, dude. That's when the
yeah,
trade
but that
deadline
wasn't that
was.
long ago. I feel like he only played like 10 games with the Bruins, dude.
Nah, I think the Bruins had like 22 games after the trade deadline or something like that.
Okay, so the stretch when we thought the Bruins were dead and gone, especially you, and up until when they were competing for a wild card spot, Hampus wasn't there for a huge chunk of that. So, okay, the point that I'm making is that Hampus isn't necessarily part of this core that's been together that has this like journey of a season. That's more of what I'm saying. So, Hampus not being there is kind of like men's softball. You have a guy on the backup roster,
All
and
right.
it's like
All
when
right.
he, no, I'm serious. When he's not there, it's like, oh, well, he's kind of never here. So, whatever, we're missing him, whatever. It's not the same as the guys that have been through the 0 and 12 seasons. I've been there. Way off topic. Take it from there. Thank you very much.
It's the core is dwindling. They're getting older. You mentioned something about, I think it was in Rage. You were saying stuff like
Extreme rage.
get rid of everybody, blow up the core, get rid of McAvoy. Grizzlick sucks. I mean, I heard from a bunch of people that Grizzlick didn't have a great game.
Terrible.
And but I have to remind you, the past couple runs we've been on, we've been the underdog in the first round. We've been the underdog in a lot of different situations. 2013, I think we were the better team. I think the Leafs barely made it into the playoffs. 2018, we were the higher seed, I think, than the Leafs. 2019, they were the higher seed than us. The following years, we played teams that are much, much better than us objectively, scheme wise, depth wise. The Bruins, they got a little bit of magic to them. I would not be surprised to see them send it to game 7.
I wouldn't be surprised if they sent it to game 7 either, dude, just because they're at home, though. Just because they're at home. No other reason. Because the Hurricanes didn't play well on the road, and the Bruins did play well at home. So if the Bruins lose, it'll be more of a surprise to me if they lose in game 6 than if they win. Let's just put it like that.
It'll be more of a surprise to you if they lose at home.
Yeah.
I just have the idea that Carolina plays pretty steady Eddie, and the Bruins were just hot at home, especially with their power play. And that's really the only like, dude, the games that the Canes have beat us so far are 5-1, 5-2 wins. The games that the Bruins are winning are like they feel like way closer games.
What did we say about game 1 or 2? One of those that
they are closer than they look.
Yeah. So what's your point? It's not like these are blowouts out of.
I'm kind of backtracking because Carolina's dominating us. 5-on-5, they are dominating us. And you said last game in game 5 yesterday, giving up our power plays, getting stupid penalties. Charlie McAvoy, that's not what he does. He did it last night. Derek Forbort.
Chucky bright lights. Brights were pretty dim last night, boys.
Dude, that Jarvis goal, he's falling down and he slaps it and it goes off JD's stick or
that
his
was the
skate.
third goal.
It hops over Swayman like that would and
that
that's
type of
such
game.
a bad that's such a backbreaker, dude. You're trying to get back into a 2-0 game and then that goes in. It's like, oh my God. What are we gonna do to get a fucking puck bounce our way? Either way, we got game 6 at home tomorrow night. I don't have work. I'll be watching it. I'm going to move my camera real quick for the YouTube viewers. I had this out last night, just stretched out.
I love how you have the hockey sticks in the background too.
Yeah. So
doesn't even play hockey, has hockey sticks. Love it.
This shirt says Chucky Bright Lights on it. It's a Barstool creation, and then that's my Bergeron jersey, still with the A on it. I got to get one with the C on it. But I'll be wearing those tomorrow night. But I'd like to move on to the next game. If you got nothing else on the Bruins.
All right, so me and Jack are recording this. Yeah, I'm down for that. But me and Jack are recording this podcast while Game 5 of the Celtics Milwaukee series is being played in Boston. It's already one of those games where it looks like it's going.
How is it Game 5?
What do you mean, dude?
Those 2 days off, those 3 days off, threw me completely off.
What are you talking about?
Dude, they played the first 2 games of the series.
Oh yeah, what did you think it was?
I thought it was Game 6. There's no reason that it time-wise, it feels like this series has been already like this should be Game 7. Like it's been going on for so long. Those extra days, those skip days, it felt like it adds so much more. But yeah, we're recording during this game. We're both watching both of the basketball games tonight. Hopefully the Warriors clinch. But let me just round out the rest of the NHL last night.
Last night, I can't wait to talk about this series, this Boston series. I can't wait. This is
synonymous.
I've learned so much about basketball watching this series, the Golden State series, and listening specifically to Tim Legler and JJ Redick talk about it, because I've never heard basketball terminology like they talk about it in media before. Like when they talk about first action, second action, like certain types of screens. I've never heard anybody talk about that stuff before, and now I'm looking at the game totally different. Well, let's finish up with last night.
Dude, it's a beautiful thing actually getting these insights from these ex-players, because I mean, especially on the TNT broadcast for the NHL that I've realized, they're always bringing something different to the table. There's an unlimited amount. I feel like especially in basketball, I mean, in hockey, where there's an unlimited amount of topics and things to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
Like Rick Tockett's talking about like energy. Biz is talking about scheme. Anson Carter's talking about playing pucks along the walls and puck possession. Like there's so much different things to talk about. But that was a little off topic, but synonymous with the Bucks Boston series, Leafs Lightning, dude. Regardless of who's home, just like Milwaukee Boston, it's gone back and forth every game. What was it? Milwaukee, Boston. Milwaukee, Boston. Right?
Yeah.
For the Leafs, Lightning. Leafs won last night to take a 3-2 series lead. 4-3 win. They were down 2-0.
Wait, were the
Came
Leafs
back.
home?
Yeah. The boys were buzzing, dude. I think it was 2-0 like most of the game. Came back from down 2-0. Went up 3-2. They let up the lead, the tie, and then they scored again before regulation ended. That is not the Leafs. The Leafs are crumble when we're ahead kind of team. They held on. I'm like proud of them. 3-2 series lead on one of the best teams in the league. They have another chance to break the Lightning streak of losing 2 games in a row. It's like 18 games in a row now. They haven't lost 2 games in a row. Wait, it's probably actually way more than that. It's the past 2 cup runs. Either way, that's an insane series. It's like a chess match we were talking about before. Some games have been blowouts, but dude, there's so much skill on both sides of the ice. And Jack Campbell apparently is objectively playing better than Andrei Vasilevsky. That hasn't happened in like 3 years. Vassie's been crowned the king of the NHL goalies for the past like 5 years. So the impressive stuff by Jack Campbell. Blues Wild. Another series where it's going back and forth. It doesn't matter who's home. I think the Blues took game 1. The Wild won 2 in a row. And then the Blues won 2 in a row. Blues are up 3-2 in the series with a 5-2 win last night. I have no idea who's going to win this series. I took St. Louis in 7.
I don't even know who to cheer for, dude. I think I took St. Louis in 7, but then I also prior to the playoffs starting, thought Minnesota was going to come out of the West, barring the Avalanche not being who we thought they were. But that's also not true. They are exactly.
I'm rooting for the Wild. Like, actually, they are such a fun team. Also, they didn't beat the Bruins in the 2019 final, so I have a little bit of bias there. But I just thought the Blues, since they've been there, they have all this. They have less pressure. Did I mention that Minnesota is going to be in so much cap trouble next year that this is like their one shot? Their buyouts kick in and it eats up like 25% of the cap next year or something. But Blues, they got that playoff experience. I think they come out of this series, even though I'm rooting for the Wild, they have a much more likable team, in my opinion. But to conclude the NHL slate last night, the Kings are up 3-2 on the Oilers after an OT win. Adrian Kempe has never scored a playoff goal before. He has 2 last night, including the OT winner. His celly, as he's skating along the boards after he scores, he just goes like this to the crowd. Just like, cry, Edmonton,
Wow.
cry. He's such a savage. He had an absolute breakout year. I think he had 35 plus goals. He was always like this highly touted prospect, super fast, a bunch of skill, just could never finish, couldn't put up the points. And this year he had an offensive explosion and he's putting up points in the playoffs. We've noticed a theme. The defensive teams in the NHL are beating their offensive counterparts. Now, if we're talking about Leafs Lightning, they're kind of the same when you're talking about defense and offense. They're both kind of like balanced. Like neither of them are like super defensive, but the Kings versus the Oilers, the Kings have the edge, I think. Dallas versus Calgary. It seems like Dallas has the edge because their defense is
exactly,
so
dude.
well. Except for the Rangers Penguins, dude. The Rangers had that defense that we're not going to let you score. And then Shesterkin's been an absolute
no show. Absolute no show.
He can't even stop a beach ball. That's what joke is. But yeah, the Kings take the series lead. There is going to be so much pressure on Edmonton. I wouldn't be surprised if Draisaitl gets traded.
Wow.
Dude, just like year after year, you have 2 of the best players in the league and you can't win.
I mean, dude, NHL, I don't think I would ever expect a top-heavy team, especially with only 2 guys, to be able to succeed, make a deep playoff run. I mean, what, you got at least like 18 to 20 guys that play more than a third of the game, and your best guys only play just over a third of the game. You know, like there's the time is too split up for only 2 guys to be that good to really carry a team deep into the playoffs. Like the NBA, you could play your best guys for fucking 42 minutes out of the game. Like, and they can completely change everything about the game. NHL is just a little bit different. And then obviously the NFL is 2 different sides. So
I agree with the usage. Definitely. Dude, they have offensive depth. It's just year after year. The common denominator, it seems, in a playoff contender is the goalie. And there is this many great teams with great depth and defense and whatnot, and this many goalies that are worthy of winning a cup. And
great point.
You saw it with Colorado the past couple of years. They rely on Pavel Francouz or who was their other goalie last year? They just don't have goalies that are good enough to bring them to the cup. They have a great team, but they keep letting up these bad goals. They picked up Darcy Kemper this year. I mean, he's a veteran, dude. He's an older guy, but he's still a very, very above average goalie. Now he's out with the eye thing, dude. Like, he might not be back for the rest of the playoffs. I don't think they're winning the cup. the Lightning still have an insane goalie, one of the best goalies in the league of all time. The Blues a little sus on their goalies, but Marc-Andre Fleury's flaws so far in this series has kept it even. St. Louis is ahead in the series. Shesterkin, we were talking about this when we were just in the car. He now has a little bit of like extra thing attached to him. Like, oh, he's a great goalie, but is he good in the postseason? Hasn't proved it yet.
He's gonna have to he's gonna have to overcome that now. People are gonna be, especially in New York, dude, gonna be asking this question like you had a poor performance last year in the playoffs. Like, how are you gonna play this year? Type questions, like he's gonna live with that reputation now as a regular season star until he wins something.
Absolutely. And filling in for the shoes of Hank Lundqvist. I read this stat. I don't know if you were connected before, but I was watching the MSG pregame Rangers broadcast, and it said they showed this stat. Lundqvist he holds the record 10-0 or 10 straight wins when facing elimination with an average of 0.96 goals against average in elimination games at home. 0.96.
Yes, man.
That's fucking insane. Oh my god, dude. Go Rangers. I'll just hit me with some NBA, dude.
So the first thing that I want to say, I'm kind of gonna recap just where the series are at. So there's only been three road wins the entire NBA postseason so far.
Oh my god.
The Warriors won one game at Memphis, and Boston and Milwaukee split. So there's a 1-1.
Wait, so did Warriors Denver go to game 7?
I'm not talking about the whole thing.
You're talking about the second round.
Yeah, my bad.
Okay.
But Phoenix and Dallas, Phoenix went up 2-0. We thought it was possibly going to be a sweep. Dallas wins both at home. And then Phoenix wins game 5. Dude, these are blowouts. Every single game has been close to a blowout, or maybe there was one or two mixed in there that was kind of close, but
dude, the Miami Philly series is making
what the fuck is going on in that series, dude? It's I understand Embiid was a MVP candidate, and without him, they're a much different, much worse team. But they lose the first two. Miami beats them twice at home. I thought Miami was a better team anyway. But then they go back to Philly, and Embiid comes back, and he doesn't even have that significant of an impact. I'm pretty sure he's averaging 23 points in a series and 10 rebounds, which isn't really.
That's not peak Embiid.
That is not peak Embiid whatsoever. And they ended up winning pretty handily in both those home games. And then Miami last night
wins by 35.
Wins by that much, dude. But the difference is games 3 and 4 with Miami on offense is Jimmy Butler carrying, dude. In those two games, actually in the whole series, Jimmy Butler has, I think, 39% of the whole team's points. And he's not even that much of a scorer. So games 3 and 4, especially the role players, especially in the first half, non-existent with shooting. Just terrible shooting. And just you can't really pick out one role player that's really done their job. Maybe Tyler Hero, he had a couple 18-point games off the bench, but nothing crazy. And then for Philly, it's just Harden, dude. Harden has had one good game this whole playoffs.
I hate that guy.
And it was game 4, dude. And it was game 4 at home when Miami was making a comeback. They finally were putting it together. Jimmy was on fire. He had 40. But James fucking Harden, dude. Oh, dude, I heard somebody say this today. That James Harden is an amazing offensive player, especially shooting the three when his team is up by like 6 or more points. When you need those like dagger threes or dagger points, he's your guy. But otherwise, like if you're behind, he's not your guy. He's not that guy.
That is the strangest player description I've ever heard. Nobody is good at padding the lead.
Fucking
Nobody is
losers.
known at being good for padding the lead.
Losers are.
Like, dude,
Because you don't
especially the
win
Warriors. We
championships.
watch these teams that win consistently, like the Warriors. They could shoot the lights out, but they're not. I mean, they do break away a lot of games, but you don't see Steph like, oh, we're up 25, and I'm like starting
gonna
a
go
6-for-6 run at the 3-point line. Like,
I mean, he's done that before, but that's not. Dude, the Warriors. Any of the Warriors players shouldn't even come close to this conversation, which is what you're saying, because they do it on both sides. They will pad the fuck out of the lead, but they'll also come back. Like, dude,
okay, yeah.
to go straight into game 4 in Golden State. Dude, this was like coming from the Warriors go from shooting 63% from the field in game 3 to after 3 quarters shooting 37%. Dude, no one shot the ball well. Curry, like, actually was kind of consistent throughout the game, but dude, Clay, 6 of 20, 0 of 7. Wiggins, 1 of 5 from 3,
Dude,
especially
they had
from 3.
38 points at half.
Poole, 0 of 3 from 3. Yeah, it was 41-38, dude. This was a shooting shit show. And on
They
the
had
Grizzlies
40
end,
points in the fourth quarter to win by 3. They had to outscore the Grizzlies by 10 points.
But this was one of the games that you go back and you're like, this. Okay. So one thing that JJ Redick and Tim Legler specifically were talking about when it comes to there's a certain, like, you could say inexperience and immaturity is one thing, and that can contribute to a bunch of factors, like just like timely decisions in terms of taking shots. Like when you're down 7 and the other team just hit a 3 the possession before, and then they hit another one. So now you're down 10 and you're on the road. You don't dribble up and take a fucking fast break 3 when the defense is in a half court set. You don't take that early 3. So, like, that's one example of what could happen. You could blame that on immaturity and not knowing the situation of the game. But what JJ Redick and Tim Legler were saying, dude, there was 3 plays at the end of the Warriors game that were fucking huge. Like, I think there was a minute and like 50 seconds left, and the Warriors were down by 3. They were inching back, right? Because nobody was shooting well. So they were inching back. And they were down 3. They could have finally tied it up. They didn't take the lead until the fourth quarter. And there's an inbounds play. Dude, I'm going to see if I can draw this. This would be sick. So this is the baseline.
Dude, just
No,
draw it.
I got it. I got it. This is the hoop. This is where Curry is. They have one guy here, one guy here, one guy here, one guy here. Wiggins is right here. Dude,
They have 6 guys.
This is 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
What about the inbounder?
Fuck you. This guy doesn't exist. That's a good point. So there's no one moves. Wiggins just walks out to the 3-point. There's 1 minute and 50 seconds left. They're up 3 points. Wiggins walks out to the top of the key, and there's no one on the Grizzlies past this line whatsoever. What's crazy is that Wiggins ends up airballing. Dude, Curry just passed it right to him. There's no one. No one even challenges the shot. Wiggins ends up airballing the 3, which happens whether you're young or not. You know, it just happens. But that type of miscommunication. And then there was another miscommunication. I think it was more of on like a half fast break, half not, where they didn't pick up like Jordan Poole or something like that. It's just like these little miscommunications that they have at the most crucial. Oh, this is what it was. It's like Steph Curry ends up getting a layup at the end of the game, but instead of already having their matchups, like after a dead ball, the Grizzlies are running back on defense, pointing to who they got. You should already know who you got, especially Steph Curry. And they didn't have that lined up, and Curry gets a layup. So it's like little things like that where the Warriors saw that shit right away and took advantage right away. And the Grizzlies obviously weren't able to communicate in a moment as big as that. And I don't know if that's coaching. I don't know if that's the players not being, having the experience. I don't know what it is, but this is one of those games that they'll look back and be like, we should have won this basketball game. And for the Warriors' sake, this is a perfect example of why they are probably going to end up winning it all, to be honest. Damn, I just looked down at this. It looks so dumb. But another thing about this game, no job. So the offensive structure and the lineup and the rotation completely different. Steven Adams ended up starting and playing 27 minutes. This man's had 15 rebounds. 15 rebounds, dude. Like, obviously the Warriors have won, we've been talking about it a lot, have won the rebounding battle the whole series so far. Grizzlies had 48 rebounds. Wow, dude, the Warriors had 54. They still out-rebounded them. That's hilarious. But Steven Adams made a big impact.
Well, you get a lot of rebounds on a lot of missed shots. So.
That's a really good point. And what's it called? Oh, the other thing about Steven Adams, their best players, Jackson, Brooks, Tyus Jones, Clark, Kyle Anderson, Zaire Williams, all of them were at least -2, ranging all the way to -10. Most of them were on the worst end. Steven Adams was a +13. Like, I wonder how that's going to factor into what they do, because you don't really plan around Steven Adams on the offensive end, and but he is definitely going to get the minutes with that much production. So it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. He's not really a defensive stopper, and they don't really have big guys. So I don't really know, dude. That's kind of a weird stat.
Dude, they probably win the rebound battle tonight. They probably play a lot of JJJ and Adams at the same time. Get a lot of boards. Those are two bodies.
John Jackson only had 5 rebounds. He did have 5 blocks, though, and 5 fouls.
Led the NBA in blocks.
That guy's a beast.
Guy's a monster.
But the scoring, they didn't really seem to figure out who they're going to rely on the scoring. Kyle Anderson 17, Tyus Jones 19, Brooks 12. Brooks shot terrible, 5 of 19. I feel like he's mentally rattled because of how this series has played out, and the first round didn't play out.
And his ineffectivity. And I want to get back on track a little bit and do the rest of the games from yesterday, but dude, the Warriors had a really good balanced scoring attack. Besides Steph with 32, they had 4 or 5 other guys with over 10 points. But
dude,
nobody
Porter
else
Jr.
over 20.
Do you remember that game, Porter Jr., bro?
Yeah, he kept hitting threes in the corner.
Dude.
I love this guy.
I forget what the stat was. I think it was he was 2 for 25 on threes in the series or something like that, or in the playoffs. And he made 4 threes last game. All of them were bigger than the last. He was making big plays outside of that. But his impact is way bigger than the line that you see. The 12 points, 2 rebounds, 3 assists, his effect on the game was felt much more than that. And then I don't know, dude. Clay shot absolutely terrible. Not really sure what's going on with him. But yeah, dude, it was just the Warriors being the Warriors and the Grizzlies being the victim. That's really how I see this game. Dude, the Bucks and the Celtics. I don't think I've ever seen a more perfectly matched series. The amount of strategy that has to go in, and then, dude, the refs in this series are fucking insane. The Bucks are getting a lot of calls, but then at the same time, you'll see a random call on the other side where it's like, how, why, now? Like, it's I don't know. But that series is so evenly matched. Tatum went from having the worst playoff game of his career to completely bouncing back. I don't know what he had. I think he had over 30 points. Al Horford had the best playoff game of his career. He had 18 points in the fourth quarter. That was unbelievable.
I just want to
but-
thank God.
But both these teams have been able to show they can win at home, and they both have won on the road. So, and so far in this game that we're watching right now, Boston is home, and this game is back and forth, neck and neck.
Yeah, this is the biggest lead I've seen in the game so far is 5 points.
What's the score?
It's 37-32.
Who's winning?
The C's.
Yes, guys. So, like, if I'm gonna break down like strategy at all for this game, what JJ was saying, dude, Keyshawn Johnson, NFL wide receiver, he's like
Johnson.
breaking down the fucking series, and then JJ Redick is just burning on the inside, is so like pissed off because this guy doesn't really know what he's talking about. Keyshawn's just like, why don't they just, if they're not making shots on the outside, just drive it to the cup, and bring those guys out, and then dish it out. JJ's like, that's exactly what they are doing, and it's not working. What they need to do is so there's 3 different ways you can defend the pick and roll. You can like press up on the ball handler and double team him, and then the roll guy will roll open pretty much. But if you have like the hands up, might not be able to get an effective pass off. That's one way. The way that the Bucks defend it though is they have the roll guy defender just sink back, just stay back. So pretty much that opens up a pull-up shot for the guy that has the ball. And the Celtics just haven't been taking those open opportunities. They've been trying to drive it to the cup where they have 3 fucking towers in the middle. So last game, Jason Tatum was actually able to find some open shots in that exact, sequence of play. And it opened up a lot for them, like just in general. And dude, I don't know, this series, dude, the defense is unbelievable. He just called a fucking bullshit foul on Horford. All right, that's all I got. But I got Boston tonight because they're at home and because they've been able to figure out Giannis, like limit how much he can actually affect. Like he's getting his points, but he's not necessarily being as effective as a distributor, and I think that's big because he's going to get his. And they're winning like the rebounding battle, and they're defensively very in sync. So that's why I think the Celtics are going to win tonight, and I think that they have the better coach as a rookie coach.
Ime Udoka, I think.
Mike Budenholzer on the other side. I don't really
Yeah,
like that guy.
Nah, he's a really good coach, though.
Of course he is. I mean, they won the title last year, so.
Well.
But yeah, I got them tonight, and then I got the Warriors to cover -4. Because, dude, they shot so fucking bad in the first 3 quarters last game and still were able to pull it out. So even if the Grizzlies shoot better, I think that the Warriors are able to finish off the series.
Wiggins rebounds.
Wiggins
Cool assists.
had 10 boards last game.
Cool assists.
He had 5. I think his over-under's 4.5.
4.5, yeah. And Jaren Jackson points over 17.5.
Wow.
Yeah, so I just want to touch on a couple hockey games that are happening tonight. So Colorado swept Nashville, so there's only 3 games on. 1 night game. We're full sending on the Stars. They're plus 180 on the money line. On the road in Calgary, the Red Sea is going to be disappointed. Let's go Stars. This is the series right here. The Stars got ahead 2-1 in the series. They let the Flames back in. Flames had kind of a dominant offensive performance. It's not like they won 6-0 or anything, but Wait, I could just 4-1. Of course, there's the dog. Everybody say hi to Boo. Um, dude, do we send it on the Capitals too? Like, I don't know, dude.
Who's home?
Panthers. It's
Game
another
5?
series tied. I thought the Caps were ahead, but
I feel like the Panthers have only been able to win by limiting the Capitals scoring. Like, I feel like if it's a shootout, the Capitals will win. Is that weird to say, considering the Capitals are more defensive and the Panthers are more offensive?
I'm sorry. I don't mean to like make you sound like you're really wrong, but the Capitals, there's nothing about them that is defense.
I feel like they don't score a lot.
They're just offense. They don't score a lot, but like,
Well, I mean, what I'm saying, I guess, more is that the Panthers have not scored a lot this series.
I think that's just dude, a lot of it's matchups. I don't even know who's in net for the Capitals. This is probably the least knowledge of a series that we have for our podcast. Like I don't really know what's going on in that series. That's like the awkward 7:30 game. That's like the Leafs and the Lightning, Bruins, Canes, Rangers, Penguins, Caps, Panthers. It's like it's just not the marquee game of the night. Especially Florida. Either way, this is such a pick 'em, dude. The Caps have shown.
And this is a series where they split 1-1 in home, right? Like it was 1-1 after the Florida games and then 1-1 after the Washington games, right?
Yeah, but the Caps, it's Caps, Panthers, Caps, Panthers. So the Panthers
Caps.
have had to
We're
come
taking
back.
Caps. We're taking Caps. I just decided for both of us. Daniel Tice 3. Let's go.
All right,
You get somebody like that tipping in, you're fucking winning.
I'm not putting my name on it.
Yikes!
I'm sorry. I'm
hammering the Caps.
I'm not putting my name on that one just because I like the Panthers more, but I won't put a pick on it because they're minus 220 on the money line.
Who?
The Panthers.
Yikes! I'm hammering.
But I am hammering the Stars money line. I have a Crosby, Panarin, Carlson, Huberdeau parlay, those 4 guys to get an assist. I think it's plus 1,000. So
nice.
That's what I'm rolling with tonight.
Dude, another thing I want to touch on in the NBA, Jokic named MVP for the second straight season.
Yes, face.
It's like, yeah, but at the same time, he had 65 votes to Embiid's 26. I did not see it going that heavily that way. And number one. Number two, I would have voted for Embiid. Number three, I hate how much this is a regular season award. Dude, Embiid is probably going to upset the 1 seed. And
you think they're going to win?
I think the Sixers are going to win the series now, dude.
Dude, they're down 3-2 in the series. You think Philly's going to win just because Embiid's back?
No, I think that they just have a really good shot to win the series. I think that they win game 6 at home. And actually, hold that thought, Embiid got hit in the face at the end of the last game.
Again? Oh my God.
It didn't really look like it was that heavy of contact, but when you have a broken bone in your face, it doesn't really matter.
It's like David Pastrnak. It's like David Pastrnak going after Ranta. It's like,
but dude, it's like, okay. So anyway, he is challenging heavily while being injured, the number 1 seed, and Jokic gets ripped apart in the first round. 2 years in a row. I mean, they didn't have Jamal Murray, and they didn't have Jamal Murray last year, I think. He got hurt.
Yeah, but dude, the Sixers don't even have a Jamal Murray or anybody else.
I mean, James Harden.
Dude, he's an assist guy. That's it. He doesn't even really score that much anymore. What does he average? Like 15, 16?
I think it's 18. But
All right, 18 is pretty good. So is
but
16. I don't know what I'm saying.
dude, I mean, if you take like those guys off of their respective teams, I think the Nuggets are way worse without Jokic than the Sixers are without Embiid. But I just think like how versatile Embiid has become and how dominant he is all over the floor. I think because defensively too, dude. Like I just think he deserved the award. Dude, the fucking Celts are up 13. Let's fucking go. TD Garden is lively.
All right, I got just a couple comments to make about the MVP talk. The NHL and the NHL and the NBA both have problems giving out their awards. The NBA, they have a regular season MVP, which I agree with, and a finals MVP. Kind of the same. I think actually the exact same thing as the NHL. The NHL has a Conn Smythe, which is pretty much finals MVP. You have to have a playoff MVP. It's like even if the guy doesn't win, it's like if he put up ridiculous numbers night after night, like it shouldn't go to the guy that was the best on the winning team. It should go to the best player in the playoffs.
Okay, so perfect example of this is LeBron a couple times that he lost to the Warriors. Like LeBron throughout the playoffs carried his team throughout every single round and then averaged a triple double, I think, twice in the fucking. Maybe he averaged triple double a couple rounds, but I think he definitely averaged a triple double twice in the finals, two separate finals. So if you're going to give out that type of award to a guy that doesn't win at all, it's LeBron James should have three of them at least. And the argument can be made that there is no argument why you shouldn't. Like, what is the reason that there isn't a playoff MVP? I don't understand. Maybe it's because they didn't win, so why do they deserve it? How valuable could they be if they couldn't win the games? But aside from that, I don't understand it.
It's an individual award for a team sport. It's like you can't make that argument.
Good point.
But for the NHL, I mean, I think the way that they describe the award for the MVP, the Hart Trophy, is the most valuable player to his team. So people make the argument for McDavid because it's like, oh, he shouldn't win it because he has Draisaitl, and that's a lot of the argument for a lot of different players. I don't necessarily have a problem with how they do the MVP voting. I hope Austin Matthews gets it this year. Like 60 goals is unfucking believable.
Yeah, they should get it too.
But I guess when I was thinking of this theme that I was bringing onto the podcast just now, they need a different Norris Trophy for the defenseman because it always goes. The defenseman of the year always goes to the guy that has the most points. There has to be a defenseman award, like really good both ways, really good at offense, really good at defense. Cale Makar is pretty good on defense. He's the best offensive defenseman in the league.
He's sick.
But that's why him or Roman Josi are going to share the Norris every year because they put up the most points. Dude, there's got to be an award for a guy that is absolute steady Eddie shutdown on one side and amazing on the other side. Chucky Bright Lights. I'm sorry. But there's so many other defensemen in the league, like Aaron Ekblad, like great, both like two-way guys. They can absolutely shut you. Victor Hedman. Like, I mean, he has one Norris, I think. It's like he's been the best defenseman in the NHL for the past like 5 years. He's one Norris. It's unbelievable. John Carlson won it a couple of years ago. Just because he had like 70 points. It's like, yeah, 70 points, that's a lot of points.
Dude, at the same time, these awards were created when we didn't have analytics. When, they just, like, they didn't always keep track of stats, dude.
But
Like
we're
there's
well into the analytical era. What's
Bro, I don't
stopping?
think we'll
What's
slow down. We're not well into it, dude. It takes years for things to change. We are not well into it. We just
dude?
started
People have been.
backtracking, keeping track of this stuff. Like the analytics that we have today, we've backtracked it to apply it to errors in the past, but we just started this stuff. Dude. Like people will say, oh, like now all the analytical guys are coming up front because it just started and now people have a chance to pick a side on which
I think for at least the NHL, it's the analytical argument has been going on for 6, 7, 8 years, and that is definitely long enough to. What is stopping the leagues from making more awards, though?
I guess, yeah, that's a good point.
It's like, how are you hurting the league? Like, you're making more fan bases happy. You're giving out more awards. It's not like you're diluting the how great the awards you're giving out are. There's still a lot of different specific qualities that go into each
Yeah,
award.
I like that.
It's just like I'm not the only one that has that opinion about the defenseman award. They've
But,
said it on
dude,
multiple broadcasts. It's just like, to me, if you're gonna have one trophy for best defenseman in the league, it can't just go to the guy that had the most power play assists.
I agree. But one thing I will say is an accolade that goes on everyone's resume by the time they retire is specifically in the NBA, all NBA, second team all NBA, third team all NBA. So it's like, and there's all NBA defensive. So there is recognition for these guys. Like I'm pretty sure Marcus Smart, yes, this year was his first defensive player of the year. But it's like if you, I think Drew Holiday, dude, he's never won a defensive player of the year. I mean, obviously, Mark Smart was the first guard since Gary Payton in the 90s, but I'm pretty sure he's been all defensive NBA like a couple of times, dude. LeBron too. LeBron has never won a defensive player of the year, but he's been on all NBA defensive teams like 6 or 7 times. It's still recognition. Just because there's not a trophy that comes with it doesn't mean it's not recognition.
I definitely jumped the gun when I looped the NBA into this conversation, because they don't have as much recognition for that kind of stuff in the NHL. Like, all defensive team, they don't even have that. They just have first team all pro, just like the NFL does, because they have both sides of the ball. That's a completely
Yeah.
different conversation, but they have first team, second team, all NHL, but they don't have first team all defense. They don't have Bergeron, Kopitar, and Mark Stone with McAvoy and Hedman. It's like they literally have first team. Here's Yossi and Makar. Second team, John Carlson and Victor Hedman. It's like you're not really getting more than one guy recognition for being great defensively. So I guess the NHL is really the one that's struggling in these awards conversations.
I mean, I don't know. Also, this whole era, you know, you want to talk about like time and like trophies. It's like how many people bitch about the fact that every little kid gets a participation trophy, even though their team came in 7th place in the league. Like, I don't know. Maybe there's a little bit of pushback because of that. I don't know, dude. Damn, bro. I've just watching this game. I've seen Tatum brick like 4 days. They're still at 12 because the Bucks can't score. But dude, watching this game, it's like I've been live betting the teams that are losing a lot in the NBA playoffs because most of the time NBA games, especially with how prevalent the 3 ball is now, it's anybody's game when it's like a 15-point game. Anything can happen. So I've been live betting, but I don't feel good about the Bucks coming back in this game.
Well, Giannis, if he gets Horford out of the game, that's another step towards the comeback.
He dominated Horford last game.
Just from what I've seen so far, he's drawn 2 fouls on Horford. So,
I mean, yeah, if Horford gets in foul trouble, that's definitely significant. But so I don't think Robert Williams is smart. So Daniel Tice is the only other big man. But dude, at the same time, Tatum can guard him, at least slow him down. Like What? What's so funny? Oh, Grant Williams, the guy on the screen right now. He's been locking down Giannis. Dude.
I was gonna say because you said Giannis. I mean Tatum can kind of slow him down. I was gonna say I don't think anybody can really guard Giannis. So I think slow down is probably the best term you can use.
Another three from Tatum.
All right, so I'm pretty much good.
Yeah, so am I.
I kind of want to watch this game.
Yeah.
And then I'm gonna throw the Rangers game on my laptop. This is the Sync Boys podcast signing off.
Yes, guys.
Episode 30. Didn't know we'd
yes,
make it
yes.
that far. The big 3-0. I'm kidding. Follow us on Instagram at CINQ Boys.
Oh, do you see that play?
No.
They forced like pretty much a shot clock on the Bucks. Wesley Matthews hits back rim. Drew Holiday can't corral it. Marcus Smart gets the rebound. Full court pass to White. He lays it up at the buzzer. Let's go. And the
His
ball's still
hands.
in his hand.
Yeah. All right. You got our Instagram. Follow us. Watch us on YouTube. Listen to us on Spotify. And have a good day. Yes, guys.
Yes, guys.